My wife and I are both in our mid-30s. We've been married for about 8 years and together for 14. With the way our marriage has been going so far, her cheating was not something that I was expecting. But when it finally happened and I found out, somewhere I was not surprised. I guess I expected that something was off when I started noticing her strange behaviors. She would go outside to pick up calls that would seemingly last for hours. We always had each other's phone passwords, but suddenly she wanted to no longer do that. I also noticed how she would spend an extra 15 minutes doing makeup, an extra 30 minutes doing her skincare every night. I was stupid because I thought she was doing all of those for herself. I complimented her, told her she looked pretty, that she was beautiful, and she would brush me aside. I thought it was because she was humble, but now I know it was because she wanted someone else to notice those things instead of me. I remember how I tried to be intimate with her time and time again to start the spark that we once shared, but she would always pull away from me because she was not in the mood. She had a headache, etc. It is a little strange how clarity and hindsight work, isn't it? When all of this was happening, I was so sure that everything was fine. I was just being a little oversensitive. But now that everything is out in the open, it all makes a lot more sense. I find myself often berating myself for not noticing her lack of love, her lack of interest. I feel like I should have confronted her the first night she came home smelling of cologne. I should have confronted her the first night she came home a little tipsy with her lipstick smudged. I feel like I should have done a lot of things, but I never did because I suppose somewhere I was happy pretending everything was okay. I was happy pretending that my wife was not cheating on me even though I knew she was. Because accepting that she was cheating on me would mean that it was my fault. I was not able to give her the things that she truly deserved, which is why she decided to go and sleep with other men. I know now that it is not my fault, but at the moment, I felt like it was. I cannot say I was the smartest in the moment of emotional turmoil. I caught my wife in bed with her AP when I returned home from work earlier than I expected. I thought I was imagining things, but no, it was her on top of somebody else on my bed. It broke my heart, and I honestly felt numb. Somewhere, I feel like seeing her with another man shut down a part of my soul that I did not know was possible. And now I'm just trapped here, wondering when I would feel like myself again. I spoke with my friends about the whole situation, and their advice was to delve a little deeper into AP's background and figure out if there was a way I could get revenge. Given how numb I felt, I did not feel like doing that at all, but my friends kept insisting, so I dug around a little. I found out that AP is married to someone. He's been married for about 5 years and started the affair with my wife after they met via work. Seeing that, I considered telling the wife about it. She deserves to know what a scumbag her husband is, but at the same time, I cannot say that I'm keen on the drama that is going to follow after I talk about this. So overall, it was not a good situation. During all of this, my wife was not ashamed at all. She felt no guilt and she thought that whatever she was doing was perfectly okay because she did not feel happy with me. And it is only fair that she found her happiness with someone else who cared about her. She told me how I never cared enough about her needs and happiness, and how I always focused on work more instead of her. Well, that is partly true. I always tried to be there for her, but it felt like nothing I said mattered. In her eyes, AP was the man I could never be. It hurt me to see her every day because I knew she was going out with AP. I told my wife to move out and she refused because in her eyes, I'm the one who needs to go because I never brought enough money home. I did not do the things that I should have done to make sure she had a happy life, and so it's my fault that she cheated. It was strange hearing the woman I love say those things to me, but I thought maybe that it was what I deserved. I was ashamed and I felt emasculated. I did not even tell my friends about the whole situation immediately. So ever since I caught her, while we live in the same house, we barely ever speak with one another. I've been trying to figure out the whole housing situation and everything while also trying to go back to feeling like myself. I moved into the office with all of my belongings while she took all her stuff and was in the master bedroom. Now, because all of my stuff is in the office, my friend suggested that I get a camera for security purposes because one time my wife broke my gaming console because I had not taken her out on a date. In my defense, one of my close family members had passed away that week, and I was simply not feeling it, which she knew about. So, when my friend suggested the camera, I thought it was a good idea. I invested in cameras that I installed in the office in the living room area where my gaming console was so that if something happens, I will have some proof. I did all of these things because I knew that I would not be able to move out of our house until I have figured out how everything is going to go with our separation, and my wife has not bothered sitting down for a talk with me. Either she does not come home or she ignores me completely. It's just a messy situation, and I was feeling very desperate. I found out about her affair 1 month ago. The whole living situation has been this way since then, and I finally did some digging about the AP a week ago. I told my wife about my decision, which is I am going to tell AP's wife about his cheating, and my wife thought I was bluffing. She told me that she did not believe me at all. She told me that I should not ruin someone's happy marriage because I am unhappy with mine. It was ironic coming from her. I told her that I have the contact information of the wife and I will surely do what is necessary because she deserves to know that her husband is a cheater. My wife said that I'm doing this because I'm jealous and I just want attention. I told her that this is the right thing to do, and my wife rolled her eyes and told me, stuff you, because she has a date and I'm only distracting her. I went back to the office and I did not come out until morning. She was not home while I went to work. While I was at work, I got arrested. The charges were domestic abuse. The cops showed me pictures of my wife, bruised black and blue, and she claimed that I had done those things to her before leaving the house. They took me into custody. I explained my situation. I told them that I would not hurt my wife and that she was lying, and they did not believe me. I was released after bail and I was given a date for the trial. By now, all of my friends were aware of the whole situation, so one of my friends, who's a lawyer, decided to pull through. He and my other friends got all the stuff from the house because she also filed for a restraining order against me. Once we got my laptop, we checked the camera footage from the security cameras I had installed. What we found was shocking. My wife had come home, sat in the living room, and used her makeup to put bruises on her. She would hit herself first and then add more makeup so that it seemed more severe. The whole footage was of her hitting herself, slapping herself, and even punching herself, and then calmly applying makeup to make it look worse. After she was done, she broke my PS5. I knew I should have put it in the office, but okay. I have proof now. It was so, I don't even have the words to explain how I feel. I never knew that the woman I love could be this way. Currently, I'm living on the couch of one of my friends. I cannot say I'm happy with how my life is. My friend suggested I write about this whole situation on Reddit and indulge in some public shaming of my wife in the hopes it makes me feel better. Update 1. Hey everyone, thank you so much for all the lovely messages you guys have sent. Also, I'm sorry that my post is a bit of a mess. I did not do a spell check or anything. I was just planning on venting, so I appreciate all of you who were able to make sense of what I wrote. I am no writer, but I tried. I appreciate all the good vibes you have sent my way. The proof seems pretty irrefutable, and my friend and lawyer think that we would be able to win the trial, or at least get the charges against me dropped after we prove that she is simply bonkers. But I am not sure how things are going to go. I am a little worried. I'm still feeling like I'm trapped in a nightmare. Update 2. Hey everyone. Sorry I have not updated in a while. So the trial was yesterday and things were pretty heavy. My lawyer decided to do some snooping on his own and he found some concrete proof that my wife spent the entire night with the AP the day she is claiming I attacked her. I'm talking hotel reservations and all that. I have no idea how he did it, but he did. With all of those shreds of evidence, we went to court. I saw her face after a long time and it was painful. I felt like she was ripping my heart out of my chest. Throughout the trial, whenever she had the chance, she would cry and act scared of me as I had hurt her. But this only went on for as long until my lawyer pulled out the video. The shift in her face was evident. She looked like a monster, and I have no idea how I could have loved a monster like her for as long as I did. The charges were dropped, and she has to pay me a fine for false allegations and the destruction of my PS5. I am not too sad about the court ruling. I have also filed for divorce, and I'm hoping that she will sign the papers soon enough and release me from this farce of a marriage. I messaged AP's wife about the whole situation and gave her whatever proof I have. Some security camera footage that shows her husband with my wife. She reacted pretty aggressively. She was angry with me and blocked my number. I am not too upset about it either, honestly. She deserved to know, so I let her know. Now, whether she will believe me or not is her prerogative completely. Update 3. Hey everyone. Thank you to everyone who suggested I go to therapy. The last 6 months have been very crucial for the recovery of my mental health. I'm sorry that I was not around though. Yes, the AP's wife did call me names and believe that I was lying. I felt bad, but what you guys said is right. I did the right thing, and now it is her call whether she'll believe me or not. The money that my ex-wife paid as a fine was enough to help me move miles away from her. Since I informed AP's wife about it, I heard that AP stopped the affair with my wife, which led to her wanting to get back with me, but I refused her. She has left several messages on my phone asking for another chance, and I've ignored her olive branches. I do not want to be with someone who pressed false charges against me. I cut her off, and I have cut off people who took her side. I refuse to be surrounded by such negativity. Hopefully 2023 would be better for me, honestly, now that she's out of my life. Your wife is a terrible person. You need to be as far away from her as possible. She faked charges against you to save her affair partner's marriage. This is pathetic. OP, good on you for walking out, but I have to say that for the future reference, if someone breaks your stuff because you could not take them out for a date while grieving the loss of a family member, they are not the type of person you should be marrying. Also, do not take to heart that the AP's wife reacted that way. Sometimes shock can do that to people. Next story. My girlfriend and I have been together for 3 years and have been living together in a rental for 1 year now. We've always been a we have our own money kind of couple, but have always had a joint account that we both put money into to pay for groceries, rent, electricity, etc. Prior to living with her, I lived with my parents for a while and I was working full time, so I managed to save up quite a lot of money. She is the complete opposite, where if she gets money, she spends it. I recently decided that I am going to put my savings into a house and move into there. All of the money going into the house will be mine and none of it will be hers. When we spoke about it, I said to her that when we moved into the house, I would like her to pay rent. She claimed that if we were to move in as a couple, that she would not pay rent because she wouldn't be renting a place. She would be living in my house with me. I said that she would need to still pay half of the mortgage payments, but it would be no different to her paying rent to any other place we were living in. Only at the end of the day, the house would completely be under my name. Basically, I want her to pay rent to live in my place. She doesn't think she should have to. AITA? Edit. To answer a few common questions, I used the word mortgage in the post, and that was a mistake. I never actually said the word mortgage, just the amount I asked for was equal to half of the mortgage, which is about less than 25% of most rentals in the area. I'm also able to make payments without her assistance and will pay for all upkeep like any homeowner would. NTA, this is completely acceptable. You need to draw up an agreement, though, that makes her a tenant. Any upkeep, maintenance, upgrades, anything that adds equity is completely on you. Having a formal rental agreement protects both of you in case this doesn't work out long term. It's no different than paying rent elsewhere. Just because you buy a house does not mean she gets to live for free. So have a rental agreement drawn up, or she doesn't live there if she won't pay rent. ESH, really? We need figures. She should absolutely be paying something, but not half. IMO, she should be paying less, whatever she's paying in rent now, allowing her to save the difference so that if you break up, she will be able to walk away with something and have had some benefit, but no stake in the house. You both benefit that way. Taxes are all on you, and utilities split. Next story. I, female, 29, own my own apartment. It was inherited, and I know I'm extremely lucky. However, to be able to keep the apartment, I rent out a room. We share a kitchen, living room, and bathroom and have separate bedrooms. When my current roommate, female 26, signed the contract, I went over it with her. Mostly standard stuff, but one section is added that no cats or babies, children are allowed. Cats, because I'm extremely allergic, and children, because I don't want to live with a child. Children visiting is okay, fine. We have an agreement that any long-term visitors will need to be cleared with the other person. Breaking those rules will lead to eviction. We get along great. We're quite similar in our habits. She always pays her rent on time, and there are no food stealings. After about a year, she calls me into the bathroom one day. She's standing in front of the mirror in a form-fitting stretchy dress and looks at her stomach. She asked me if I think the dress still fits her. I could see her stomach was bigger, but I look like that in the evening sometimes too, so I just assumed she was bloated. I brush it off and say she looks fine. We should normalize being bloated at the end of the day. She gives me a kind of weird look before she says she's not bloated. She's 3 months pregnant. Yup, that's how she decided to tell me. Anyway, I'm kind of taken aback as it came out of the blue. She's never mentioned it before. Never mentioned wanting a kid or a boyfriend. Found out the pregnancy was from one. After probably looking like an idiot for a few seconds, I calmly congratulate her, not with a lot of enthusiasm per se, as I don't really get excited about the idea of pregnancy and babies, and this really was a surprise, but I was polite enough. After followed an awkward silence before I made up an excuse to have to go study. A few weeks go by, and we kind of just go back to normal. While making dinner one evening, I ask her if she's found a new place to stay. She's really confused and asks what I mean. I remind her of the contract she signed that say no babies can live here. I tell her that she can, of course, stay up until the baby comes, but it would probably be wise to look for a new place soon. I don't know if she assumed she would be able to continue to stay here with the baby, but I guess so. A few days later, I started getting texts from her friends calling me an a-hole for kicking out pregnant woman on the street. She has like 5 months to find a new place. And I charge a pretty average rent for the room, so it's not like she can't afford other places with roommates. I completely understand why I might seem like the a-hole to some, but I genuinely think I'm in the right here. Why should I ignore my own boundaries and comfort because my roommate decided to have a baby, when she knew from the beginning it's a deal breaker to live here? Anyway, I guess I'm here to get a wider perspective on this. Edit. I'm not in the USA. NTA, you are evicting a roommate for breaking the rules. Would you hesitate if she brought home a cat? Believe me, a cat is a lot quieter and a lot less work than a baby. I know it seems heartless on the surface, but you put those clauses in the contract for a good reason. It is really lousy that your roommate is telling her friends about this. This is her responsibility, and she needs to deal with it. You were very smart to bring this up early. 5 months is plenty of time to find a new place to live. Stay tuned for more stories from Our Girl Relationships.